Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to our live streaming event for the Webequay Supply Road project. My name is Marian McMahon.
And I'm Don Parkinson.
And we are the engagement team for the Webequay Supply Road. So typically, we would be visiting Indigenous communities to consult and engage with them on the project. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are adapting to our new normal and have been hosting a series of these live streaming events weekly every Wednesday at 1 p.m. and 4 p.m., focusing on different topics and areas of the environmental assessment for the project. So please do engage with us throughout this session and send us your questions. You can do so by text at 807-630-1864 or by email at kathy.banning@supplyroad.ca. That is cathy.banning@supplyroad.ca. The contact information will be above here. So this is our last streaming session today, and we will be giving you an overview of what we have heard from you, the viewers of Streaming Land, over the last couple of weeks. We will give you a recap of the frequently asked questions during all the sessions. So again, just want to remind you, please do take advantage of your time with us here for the last hour and text us your questions at 807-630-1864. or by email at kathy.banning@supplyroad.ca.
So let's get started, shall we? Just as a review, we've been engaging on the proposed terms of reference for the Webequay Supply Road environmental assessment. We had a couple of streaming sessions dedicated to the terms of reference, explaining that it is the work plan for the environmental assessment, outlining the studies required as part of the environmental assessment. We have provided an overview as to the baseline studies completed to date to characterize the study area of the Webequay Supply Road and how we will be assessing the potential changes to the environment, natural, cultural, socioeconomic, human health, etc. We also provided an overview of what the Webequay Supply Road entails and the components of the road. We had a few questions from these sessions, right, Marian?
That's right, Don. So questions we received related to the terms of reference include, when will the environmental assessment be completed? Well, currently the environmental assessment is scheduled to be completed by fall of next year. However, this timeline is subject to change with, changing timelines and whatnot for the project. We also got asked how many First Nations will be engaged. So we have 22 Indigenous communities to engage with on our contact list. That includes 21 First Nations and 1 Métis community. And they have been identified by the Ministry of Environment as potentially affected Indigenous communities in the area. And the Impact Assessment Agency of Canada also has their own list of communities which are captured in the 22 communities that we have. Now, Don, we also get asked a lot of questions related to proponency of the road.
That's right, Marian. A question we get a lot is, who will own the road, and if Webequay First Nation will own the road? Webequay First Nation is only the proponent of the actual environmental assessment. We don't know yet who the owner of the road, if and when the Webequay Supply Road is constructed. This project is also a separate project from the mine development in the area. This is strictly the Webequay Supply Road that is 107 kilometers from Webequay First Nations Airport to the McFalds Lake area.
Okay, so Don, we also had some questions related to baseline studies and various disciplines. Do you want to walk us through some of the water-related and road design questions that we received during that session?
Sure can, Marian. We did get some questions during that session with our water resources engineer, John Cooper. In that session about surface water hydrology, looking at the amount of surface water and movement of the surface water over land, as well as shared information on water considerations in road design. In that session, viewers asked, is the road temporary or permanent? Well, the road is going to be permanent. It is a proposed all-season road from Webequie First Nations Airport to the McFalls Lake area. Another question was, has a floating roadbed been done where there is a lot of weather changes? There have been these types of roads built before in places like Manitoba and other places in northern Ontario for small segments. So typically these roads, if they're done for small segments, would be what you call corduroy roads. So they're built with a log road base. Now for a road that's the length of this, you would use a geomat kind of plastic matrix that would be rolled out and form the base for the road, part of the base for the road. And then the purpose of that is to distribute the weight of vehicles across a broader area and to make the road behave in a uniform way. So that's basically the principle behind that kind of road design through terrain like muskeg. Another question was, what is the weight of the road? So I think they mean the vehicles that would be using the road. So the road will be able to hold itself in the weight of the aggregate material out of which the road is constructed, as well as the design load of vehicles. Now, Marian, in addition to talking about water and road design, we also had sessions on wildlife and fish, socioeconomics, and human health. You were in the hot seat for for two of these sessions, so maybe you want to go over the socioeconomic streaming session.
Sure. So in that session, we talked about socioeconomics, including the methods of data collection for baseline studies, as well as how we're going to study it. So I provided an overview as to what socioeconomics entails and the factors that will be assessed, such as demographics, labor force, economic activity, education, community well-being, and how we plan on collecting all of that information on all those factors, because there's a lot there that we need. And so I mentioned in that session that we'll be doing this by conducting social surveys in the community, focus groups with diverse groups, so women, youth, elders, men, land users, and as well as doing key informant interviews. So common questions that we received related to socioeconomics and in that sessions were like, when will you be collecting socioeconomic baseline information? So once the survey is finalized and approved by Webequie First Nation, we anticipate collecting baseline information between January and May of next year. So that'll allow for us to engage with community members and have them participate in the socioeconomic engagement activities. Another question that we got in those sessions was, can other Indigenous communities participate in the social survey? So yes, other communities can participate. The survey will be available online via our website, and Indigenous communities will be notified when that's available and ready to complete. And if Indigenous communities are interested in participating in the other activities, do feel free to contact the project team, and we will engage with you in the method that is preferable, and we can do focus groups or interviews or household surveys. And of course, we will follow community protocols. So definitely reach out to the project team if you are interested in participating in that.
So, Marian, we had additional questions related to the survey in terms of translation and confidentiality. Do you want to speak to that a little bit more?
Sure, yeah. So we did have questions related to translation and confidentiality. So to answer translation, yes, it will be translated into the native language. And we will also have community coordinators in the community to help administer and facilitate the survey. So that way community members are comfortable in providing that information in the language. And in terms of confidentiality, yeah, everything will be kept confidential for sure. We won't be collecting any personal information at all. And in the survey, we have a disclaimer built in indicating that all information collected is solely for the purpose of Webequa's Supply Road project. We won't be sharing that information at all with anyone else. So moving on to another interesting topic, we had quite the lengthy session with our senior ecologist, Ange Brooks, who talked a lot about fish and wildlife and all the cool things that they're doing in the study area. So maybe, Don, you want to give the viewers a recap of what we talked about and the questions we received in that session.
Sure, that's right, Marian. We did have an engaging session with Ange Brooks, our senior ecologist on the field studies for migratory birds and breeding birds and fish and species at risk and caribou and wolverine. The work that our biologists have been doing the past 2 years to collect baseline information has been really cool, really interesting stuff. We had quite a few questions roll in that Ange had to answer for us. And these were, what are the ways to limit impacts on fish? And so the answer to that is essentially we do this by using what you call fisheries timing windows during construction activities. For example, walleye, you can't do in-water construction between March 15th and July 15th in order to protect the eggs from the spawning. These windows protect species. We've also been asked how water will be protected. That's a big one. The first way is to establish a baseline condition to understand the water chemistry and if there are currently contaminants in the water. During construction, the water will be continually monitored and compared with the baseline. If there are any changes, mitigation measures or ways to limit impacts will be implemented to reduce these impacts. Another way to protect water during construction is using proper erosion and sediment control procedures.
Great. So, Don, we also had that same kind of question related to caribou. They asked, what are ways to limit impacts on caribou? And to that, Ange mentioned that caribou are sensitive to roads as they don't like their habitat to be fragmented and they don't want any disturbance. So our biologists go out to survey the caribou calving areas, which are also very sensitive. And then they look at where they congregate in the winter. And then from using all that data from the surveys, they'll make recommendations for the road corridor to shift depending on where they are.
We talked a lot about wildlife and fish. I'll also add that we talked about migratory birds. We had questions about whether or not the biologists have seen the same number of migratory birds on a year-to-year basis, and if they saw any species at risk along the proposed road. The biologists did not encounter any waterfowl species at risk. They have done 2 breeding bird surveys in 2 years and have come across the same species.
Yeah, and I believe, Don, there was a question regarding what distance from the breeding bird areas should the road be, right?
That's right, Marian. And Ange indicated that it depends on the species, and that generally it's hundreds of meters to kilometers away. That's something that they have to discuss with Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks to determine all the requirements. Those were the main questions we had related to wildlife and fish. We also had a session on human health impact assessment. Marian, do you want to give an overview of that session and the questions we received?
Yeah, sure. So we actually had that session just last week on human health. And we talked about, the human health impact assessment, what it is and how it will be studied. We even went over the main activities that'll be conducted as part of the study. And really, for human health, it's just basically a complete state of the mental, physical, and socioeconomic well-being of Webequay community members. So in that session, we had people ask questions, again, related to translation. So one of the activities is to conduct a health survey to create like a baseline and characterize the health and well-being of Webequay First Nation. So yes, of course, the survey will be translated. And again, We will have community coordinators to help facilitate and administer the survey so that way people are comfortable answering the questions in their native language and whatnot. So another activity, part of the human health impact assessment, is conducting a country foods assessment and assessing the species that Webequie consumes regularly. So people have asked, when we collect samples, do you record the locations of where the samples were located? So yes, we certainly do record those locations of where we collect the samples within the study area. So that way we're getting a good baseline within the area of the supply road. And we also do map those out and record those on a map. Another question that we got was, will caribou be sampled? And yes, caribou will be sampled for the country foods assessment because it is a species that Webequie has identified that they consume. So they will be sampled.
Well, that covers what we've heard in terms of the questions from all the sessions. A lot of questions, great questions from everyone out there. Mm-hmm. Lots of answers. There's lots of information on our website as well, too.
That's right.
If you have additional questions, bring them on and ask us now. Put them forward. I think after this, we're going to go to a short video. So think of your questions, and then when we come back from the video, we will hopefully take your questions and answer a few more. And so right now, I think we're ready to go to the video. So I hope you enjoy the video.
One of the purposes of the EA, or the environmental assessment, is to look at natural spots like this, filled with beauty and used by the community, and to come up with concrete solutions as to how we can protect it. The community weighs in, scientists weigh in, and other communities can give their comments, and from all this information, a plan is made that will guide the construction of any roads, bridges, etc. to cause the least damage.
That's Josie Jacob. He's going to talk about the tree, the tree-tier model of the land for Webequie First Nation. And he got this from way back from other elders. Josie, and that's the one in those. Josie's 90 years old already, so way back before he got this information from the other elders. How they can protect their land, and also their livelihood, the resources of this area.
The three-tier system is a set of ideas or rules based on traditional use of the land. The tiers are determined by how far a man could walk in 2 days roughly, and determine how different areas are developed while protecting the community's integral cultural resources. These are native ideas being put into work.
It says the yellow the yellow mark, the color yellow, is for the economic development, the resources, and whatever the people, the non-native people are looking for minerals, just let them do it. Just let them look for the minerals. Mm-hmm. As long as that finding, the discovery of the mineral, as long as that business runs, you're going to get the benefit from that business. As long as it runs. Mm-hmm. If they discover or they find the mineral around that green mark, they have to come here to the community. They have to come and discuss the findings of that mineral. That green circle there, you can't give that away. You have to keep that for the community. So that's all the benefits are going to come from. He knows already that like the trapping doesn't work anymore. It's not worth it anymore. Same as fishing and all that, but it's only for private use. And that green part is very important. The resources are there. If you know how to manage that green part, then back to the reserve is going to survive. You or him as an Indian cannot give that away. This example, this plan here, you cannot give that away. You have to use it the way it's pronounced, how described. How is it described? That's how you use it to benefit from the land.
Great. Hope you enjoyed all of that footage and the great videos done by our media friends, Bay Media. They do great work and they've been working tirelessly with us throughout these past couple of weeks doing these live streams. They've also worked really hard going out in the field with our biology crews to get amazing drone footage that you're all able to see the area of where the Webquay Supply Road is going to be. So thank you again, Bay Media, for all your hard work. In that time of the videos, we did get a comment from Dan. So thank you, Dan, for your comment. We enjoy doing these live streaming sessions with everybody, and we're happy that you and others have been able to tune in and engage with us. This is all great and fantastic engagement, and that we're able to do this, given our times, and hopefully this is more accessible to you and other communities, and we hope that you have found these sessions helpful to learn more about the project, ask your questions, and whatnot. So thank you for tuning in today and throughout our other sessions, because you did ask us some good questions in
Dan
this other
did.
session.
Yes, definitely.
So, thank you. So we didn't receive any other comments or questions, but we do want to thank everybody for being here with us today and all our previous sessions. Again, we do hope that you find these methods of engagement very useful for you to learn about the project. So even though today is our last streaming session, just want to let everyone know that the engagement process does not end here. You know, we are here and available to meet with communities one-on-one, by teleconference or video conference, just to talk about the project and answer any additional questions that communities may have. So we are available. Do reach out to us if you want to get in touch with us and talk more about the project. So I do want to remind everyone to also visit our website, supplyroad.ca. There is a ton of information on the project there. You'll see more great work from They Media. They've done short videos with community members, Webequay community members, videos with our subject matter experts, so you can learn more about the different studies and the disciplines associated with the environmental assessment. We have a few other communication materials out there, such as our regional newsletters, which you should subscribe, by the way. You can subscribe on our website through there, and you'll get some project updates as the project progresses. So do keep checking our website for more information. We also are on social media. Some of you are finding us on Facebook, which is great. Our handle is WFN Supply Road. Again, we will be posting updates on there and to any future live streaming events. Catch us on Instagram as well and check out some cool photos with more footage within the project study area. Again, our Instagram handle is WFN Supply Road. So we are not going away yet. Again, I mean, we're always available to talk about the project, but we just want to wish everybody, a happy holidays. We are approaching the holiday season, even though it's going to look a little bit different this year, but we hope that everyone does have a good holiday season with their families and loved ones. So in that time, please do be safe, take care of yourselves and everyone in your families, and enjoy the holidays. So thank you again for tuning in with us these past couple of weeks and engaging with us. Thank you. Until next time.